What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Release Valve. You got Sean Hanlon and Kyle Spain back in action, and I am so very excited for this, man. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling magical. I'm feeling
Yeah.
absolutely magical, my brother, man. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Every day coming into the day with an expectation of great things happening. Because I think that, not that I think, I believe that on a daily basis, we have subconscious expectations for how our day and our life are going to go. And I believe our expectations dictate what happens in our life if we believe in the manifestation of our feelings and our beliefs, right? So I'm feeling magical. I'm practicing good and positive vibes and expecting great things to happen in my life. How are you doing, brother?
I love that, man. I'm doing magical myself. I'm doing great, bro. Because it's the same thing. I love. I think people may even misunderstand a little bit when we say expectations of the day. It's Yeah, it's the careful what you wish for type of thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you say work's gonna suck, or whatever, I'm gonna hate this point of the day, or this person's gonna be difficult, or whatever. That's kind of bringing that to life. That's the a part of manifestation, right? Is
Yeah.
how you're viewing things, and if you have that positive mindset, doesn't really matter what comes up during the day, right? It's always an opportunity to put into action that positive mindset and respond in a positive way, as opposed to when something comes up and you go, I knew it. I knew it. There it is. I knew this was going to happen. It's like, so that you allow that to bring you down. You allow that to set the tone for the day because you were expecting bad things or negative things to happen. So play that in the opposite way, right? Play that with a positive twist to it. Great things are going to happen. It's what was that ominous positivity,
I love the
right?
ominous positivity. Oh, I need to practice that a little bit more. I need to exercise the ominous positivity as well. So powerful. It's like a it's like that one movie, was it Surf's Up? Oh, I'm gonna trick myself, right? It's like a brain trick, and you can feel it in your heart, yeah, like because it's like a you're turning a negative into a positive,
Right.
and I absolutely love the ominous positivity. And I wanted to jump to piggyback, what you just said about the expectation of, oh, I'm going to have a bad day. I think that should be a realization of taking that moment to have some type of perspective and awareness of what's actually going on in your life for you to have those type of thoughts and to continue to have those thoughts on a daily basis, whether that's being in a job that you hate or just not feeling like your life is going in the direction that you want it to go in,
Hmm.
and actively making necessary changes to change that aspect of your life. But again, it starts with accountability, right? And um, I told you, I sent you that Michael Beasley uh, clip, and for everyone who's listened to, the Michael Beasley was a former NBA player. He's still playing basketball as a YouTuber. He's playing in the Big Three, and this world is just so covered in clouds that so many of us have been our blinders, our focals, our bifocals have been blurry. And even in the Bible, it says that we all go through suffering, and all of us go through a hard time. And it's almost as if we feel like we're the only ones going through those hard times.
Hmm.
And I think that affects our expectations on a daily basis because we're not in a position to be vulnerable, uh, because all of us feel like we're afraid of rejection, we're afraid of judgment and
Hmm.
opinion, and so that's ultimately the consensus of how this world moves. And the conversations that I've had with multiple people in the past have all been about, man. this is going on in my life right now. This is going on in my life right now. Wow, it was a tough one today. And it just, I mean, three out of the four people at the very least are going through something. And so again, I'm grateful for this podcast, bro, and what we're doing and shedding light on what's real. Because that Michael Beasley post, it just really just it, I started to tear up. You know what I mean? For him to go up, be out on the basketball court and shed tears on the court so nobody would see it. And so the sweat would blend in with his tears, man, that hits home,
Mm,
right? For someone you think that just because you're looking in from the outside, that you understand what's going on for them on the inside and in this world that has so many layers. And for me, it just pulled back so many layers and it really showed me he showed what the world is really like with all the layers peeled back. Because we're all hurting, man. We're all going
yeah.
through some things and we all want a better life for ourselves and for our family, but it's not easy to get there. So continuing to have that perspective and changing the way that we perceive life, I believe is probably the most important for us to shift the way that our lives are going right now.
Yeah. One of my favorite like meme quotes is be kind because everybody's going through a battle that you know nothing about. And that used to be such a cliche type quote that was easily overlooked. And you're right, man. So when you're getting caught up in what you have going on in life, when you get caught up in, you know, because you're so emotionally attached to your own life, because obviously you're the only one living it, right?
Mhm.
It's so easy to have your head down
Play the
and to
victim.
not and it's definitely a victim mentality. It's definitely it's funny because it's a victim mentality, but at the same time, it's something that we try to hide or
Mhm.
not address. We show it, we wear it like clothing, but we don't want to talk about it. Don't
Mhm.
talk about the shirt that I'm wearing. Don't talk about the shoes that I have on, the pants or whatever.
And it's the why behind that
But we
though,
still
right?
wear it. We still
Hmm.
wear it. We're still walking around in the world wearing this clothing that we don't want to address with other people for some reason. And yeah, I think that fear of judgment, like you said, is a big thing with a lot of people. You assume that everybody else has it going on,
And
that
that's what it
everybody
is.
else, right?
Yeah,
You
bro.
assume that everybody else is okay, and if they look at you and you're not okay, that they're going to think less of you.
Exactly.
And that's not the case. Every like you said, every single person on this earth has something going on that they're scared about, that makes them feel vulnerable, that makes them feel weak, that makes them feel nervous, or whatever the case is. And it's the lack of addressing those things that we have going on, the lack of honesty when it comes to even acknowledging that we have something going on. Because some people, they're like that, man. They'll fake it, the quote, fake it till you make it type of thing, fake the funk. They'll say, nah, everything's all good, when it's not.
It's not.
Some people, they may have that positive outlook, like we were saying before, having that positive mindset. Yeah, it may not be, rainbows and unicorns, but it will be, or it will be okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. But some people are just in complete denial because
Hmm.
they feel like it makes them feel, yeah, weak, or vulnerable, or lesser of a human being if they admit that they're not okay.
Yeah. I that whole perception is reality is it's so false. It is so untrue. And I think, that's something that we have to recognize as well. And this is dude that I see at the gym, and every time I see him, it's always a blessing to see him. It's always like, oh man, what's going on, brother? You know what I'm saying? Like he's talking to me about, he's not getting into too much detail about his life, right? But it's just like, man, I'm going through a storm right now, right? And it's important to address, like you said, like to to have that positive outlook of things going to be okay, but it's important to address the storm that you're actually going through. And for the first time, I don't think that he was expecting me to talk about some of the storms that I was going through, right? And we always talk about bridging, like creating that bridge. And it just opened up a whole another level of vulnerability. We're in the sauna, we're talking, and like 20 minutes go by and we're in the sauna, we're about to pass out, overheating or whatever and whatnot. But it's like it opens up that I was like, oh man, oh, so you are human, right?
Right.
And it's again to piggyback what you just said, it's like we walk around and we look at other people's life, that perception, thinking or believing rather that because they're not wearing, their heart on their sleeve, or they're not showing, the suffering that they're going through, that their life is a lot better than what you're going through. Because even I do it,
Right.
like I whatever storm that you're actually going through is what your brain picks up on the outside world, and you see people, whether that's relationships, right? You'll see a couple together, right? And it's just like, oh man, like they've got it together, right? You know what I mean? Or it's like you see a person drive by in a Corvette, right? And it's like, oh man, like that person's like he's got his life together. But not, it's all it can you never know. You
Yeah.
never know what's really going on with that person in the Corvette. Like I just talked to another person yesterday. And he's like, man, I lost $200,000 in the stock market, right? And so it's
That
things
makes me
like
sick to
that,
my stomach.
right? Right, right. But you just never know, man. And to it's not easy to maneuver when you're going through a storm, but I truly believe that everything happens for you. But it's about having that perspective of being able to pull out that value that is in the storm that you're going through, because there's always a rainbow on the other side. You just have to see the positives through it. Like the whole with the buffalo and the cows, you got to run
Yeah.
through it,
Yeah.
and they can't run from it. So
Mhm.
yeah, can absolutely changing the energy, and having the expectation of being better, having a better day. But it's about wanting to have a better day. It's about wanting to be more positive, wanting to be more fulfilled, wanting to have more joy. I think it's a decision and a choice, like we've talked about
Right.
before.
Yep. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's you have to make that choice. You have to make that decision that no matter what, I'm going to react and respond better. I'm going to be a better human being. And you have to have that conviction inside yourself.
Hmm.
It's got to be mentally, emotionally, spiritually, 100% you, everything from everything about you. You have to make that decision to switch things up and just look at life differently as a whole. As far as we know, we're only here one time and we're only here for a short amount of time. Retrospect, right? So don't waste any more time feeling sorry for yourself. Don't waste any more time waiting for somebody to come and save you. There's only one person that's going to come and save you on this earth, and it's you. You have
Yeah,
to make that decision. And the best way to go about saving yourself is being positive, believing that things will be better. And just having that mindset shift, things have already gotten better no
yeah.
matter what comes up. And we talked about this before between the story of the fathers and the sons with the
Hmm.
blown
Hmm.
tire. One they both blow a tire. One dad looks at his son and he gets all bent out of shape. Why me? He starts swearing up a storm. My life sucks. Everything is so hard and all that type of stuff. The other dad looks at his son and says, time to learn how to change a tire, son. He saw
Yeah.
that as an opportunity for growth, a
Value.
bonding experience.
Hmm.
There was value in that. So it's the same exact situation, it's the same exact event that took place, but two polar opposite responses on how to handle that. And it's a lot easier talking about it. Obviously, it's one of those things that's easier said than done, but it doesn't have to be. It's having again that victim mentality and just completely disregarding that, completely throwing that out the way. I am no longer a victim of this life, of this world, of this society, of this, um, everything. I'm not a victim. I am one that perseveres. I am one that pushes through. I am one that grows in all aspects of life, no matter what happens to me. And say that to yourself every day if you have to. Fake it till you make it in that way.
Right.
Eventually, it will change. Something will click inside of you. You will start seeing a difference in
Mm,
in the things that
yes.
happen and how you respond to it. Again, as they say, put out into the universe what you want to receive.
Mm,
Start
mm.
with just being positive. Start with just being a happy go lucky person. Everything is all good. I'm above ground, so it's a good day. I always love those short, passings with people. You talk to somebody, hey, how's it going? No, another day. They have
Right.
that default auto
Right.
response of just
Yeah.
oh, here again, and then you run into those other people that, hey, I'm above, I'm on this side of the dirt, so it's a good day. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Like how we talked about the guy from Trader Joe's, and you even started off by saying you're feeling magical.
Yeah.
Having somebody give that response was just like,
It
whoa.
changes your energy,
It
right?
completely changes the energy. We're still talking about it today. I
Yeah.
saw that guy. I saw him
That's
at Trader Joe's the
wild.
other day, right? Because that's how much of an effect it can have on you. I saw
Right.
that guy the other day, and he was checking somebody out in the grocery line, and as they were leaving, he said, "Thank you for shopping here. Now go out and have a beautiful day." And I'm like, this dude is just beaming positivity at all times.
It's
To say that to
attractive.
somebody, go out there and have like completely disregarding what their day was like before that. Go out
But
and have a beautiful day.
man, like that's another one that I'm stealing too. I'm gonna adopt that one because it's it's not like have a beautiful day because the frequency is a little bit different. It's when you say go out and have a beautiful day, it's like be intentional. It's like
Exactly.
go out and have a beautiful day, and it's almost like okay, like
Yeah. I
like
wasn't planning on it, but I will now.
right, like but it's and I've told you before. I've had the hardest time with this whole manifestation thing, and that's like the new trend these days of manifesting what you believe and emotionalizing everything. And when I sent you that YouTube video, and it talked about feeling good, and that's the attraction, right? Feeling good about life, right? And that's the beacon. That's the ultimate, like, how are you making people feel when you go out, when you step outside of that door? You know what I mean? And
Right.
that's the positivity that people need. That's the attraction. That is the type of person, the type of frequency and energy that people want to be around. And when I heard that, I'm just like, yeah. Like feel good. Like
Right.
feel good, about life, especially because of how life is so short, man. And we all get caught up in the everyday, the mundane things of life. But, coming up on 40, it's like, yo, like how much time do we really have left? Even if we were to max out life, we still don't even have that much time left, right?
Right.
And that's how we live on a daily basis, you know. We live we live our lives as if we have that much time. And it's not until you get to a certain age where you reflect back and you look back and it's like, what did I do? Like, where did all this time go?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's taken me so long to get to this level of mindset. I'd rather be here. I'd rather it taken 5 years, 6 years than not be here at all. Because the awareness, it's like, I look back on my life in these past few years, and it's like, where did it go? Like, what memories did I make? Like, what adventure did I
Yeah.
take? What impact? I don't remember X, Y, and Z. I don't remember year 2023 because nothing happened.
Right.
Like I didn't make an impact on my life. I didn't go here. I didn't go there. Like there wasn't that much excitement. And I'm ready to
Right.
live a life of excitement and adventure and make memories. Do you remember when we did this? Do you remember when we went there? Do you remember when this happened?
Right.
Good and bad, right? And those are those things that those emotional moments are what creates memories, right? So creating adventure out of our lives, man, is something that we all have to be intentional about and living a better life on a daily basis. That's what we're supposed to be doing anyways.
That's it, man. Like we talked about it before, every day is like we're going to as every day is Christmas. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Every day is Christmas. And when you have the again, it brings it back to just being positive, having a positive outlook on things. You're more apt to remember moments when you're feeling good and excited and happy, right? Because when you're feeling down, it all just starts to blend together. It all
Right.
just, every day just kind of blends into the next.
Yeah.
And here we are again. That's why you get those answers. Another day,
Hmm.
and same
Exactly.
shit, different toilet or whatever. And it's just, yeah, you lose track of time like that. That's when I feel like time really flies by is when you're, yeah, not paying attention to the blessings around you, when you're not focusing on the good things and you waste so much time
Focus on the bad things.
focusing on the bad things and using up your bandwidth
Yeah.
filling it with just the negative and focusing on this negative and jumping from this negative to that negative. That saying of out of the frying pan and into the fire. You're just going from one bad thing to the next. But it's like when you start talking about the good things in life, when you start talking about those good memories back in the day, you can remember those crystal clear. I
Yeah.
remember this and that, and you have such fond memories, and that's why I think so many people get hung up on the good old days, as they say, right?
Mm.
So it doesn't have to be the old days. It could be the good new days, but it like you said exactly, and I love how you said it. It's being intentional with your actions and being apply. And we were just talking about this recently, applying the knowledge that you gain and applying action to it,
Hmm.
adopting new things. People will consume it's like this consumption loop of reading books, listening to podcasts, taking courses, or watching content on your phone or whatever, and then just moving on, just moving, scrolling to the next thing, scrolling to the next thing, and then you're not really consuming and
Right.
and really taking in what it is that you're learning, I
Learning.
guess,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And applying it going forward. And like we were just saying earlier, if I don't attach an action to it, and even if that action is just talking about it, I'm gonna forget about it. It's just
Yeah.
gonna go in and
It gets
out,
lost in the
and I'm
sauce.
gonna
Yeah.
lost in the sauce, and it's gone. And so, yeah, being more intentional with the time that we do have, I think that's a huge thing that most of us struggle with.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's awareness. Because we don't have a focus problem. We don't have an attention problem. The problem is what we're focused on and what we're paying attention to, right? Because if you're focused on the bad things, you can't be focused on the good things, right?
Right.
And it kind of just hit me, because this is something that I've said before, in my mind. Like we don't have a focus problem, it's what we're focused on is the problem. And so we like if we audit our thoughts, audit our focus, take time to reflect on what it is I'm thinking about right now. What did it like? What if we like audited our actions? It may be tedious, and that's something I'm going to work on as well. I haven't started that challenge yet, but audit our actions. What if at the end of the day you wrote down everything that you did, right? What did I do today? And it would give you I mean, first of all, a lot of us don't like being held, don't like to hold ourselves accountable, and we don't like to face the reality of what actually happens in our life, things that we do, and the decisions that we make.
Mm.
But I guarantee you, I go at the end of the day and I audit my actions. It's like, what did I do at this time? What did I do at this time? Was I playing a video game? Was I watching TV? Was I on my phone? Was I scrolling? And it's like that's the attention. That's the focus. Like, what am I thinking about right now? What happened to me right now? What am I thinking about? What was my response? How is that making me feel? And I believe if we can audit our thoughts and our actions, we can better, track and record. If we can track and record that, we can decide, or we can become aware and learn where our focus is, how we're responding to the things. Because if you don't have awareness, you can't grow, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be my next challenge is what am I actually focused on today? What am I focused on right now? And is it serving me, or is it holding me back? Am I wasting time? Because
Right.
again, you can't be focused on two things at once. So you're, like you said, you're either focused on the good things and you've practiced focus on the good things, or you're going to be focused on the bad things. And that's the only thing that you're going to be feeling, right? Those thoughts create emotions, and those emotions create our belief systems. Our actions are derived from our emotions. So being more intentional about thinking about the positive things is extremely important. We've talked about it, it's cliche, but what if? What if it made a difference?
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? What if it made a difference? Would it be
You got to
worth
have
trying?
that self-assessment. Like you said,
Self-assessment. I love that.
ask
That's the word.
yourself, all we have in this world is time, right? And it's the investment of that time. Well, you got to ask yourself, what was the return on that investment that I just made? If I'm
Right.
sitting back scrolling on my phone, what did I get from that?
Mm,
What in turn do I now have that I didn't have before? If the answer is nothing, I just
mm.
wasted my time. That's a problem. And it's okay to acknowledge that. It's okay to
It's
admit
important.
that. And I
Yeah.
think that's what a lot of people fear is admitting that they wasted time
Yeah.
and wasted an opportunity or whatever. So I think it's important to acknowledge it, as like again, I've talked about this before. I'm pretty sure that's like the first step with
I was going to bring that up. Like
like
the AA,
Alcoholics
the AA, yeah,
Anonymous. Yeah,
yeah,
right. Is
the AA
admitting
music.
that you have a
Right.
problem. That's the
Exactly.
big thing. It's okay to do it. And I think that's why it's the first step, because it's the most important, is
Yeah.
admitting that you wasted time, admitting that you didn't take advantage of an opportunity that you could have, you didn't make the most of your time, that you didn't get anything in return for what you just did. So, okay, we acknowledged it now. So now let's move on to the next step, right? Is what are my options of what I could have done with my time? What
Mm,
was a better action that I could have taken
mm.
that I would have benefited from, or somebody else would have benefited from if I did this instead. So I think that's huge, man. Having that self-assessment, being honest with that self-assessment, and not being afraid to admit your faults, not being afraid to admit that you wasted time, or that you didn't do something that you should have done, or that just being honest with that, and just being okay with that answer. And then the next step is, yeah, finding out what it is that you could have done instead. And so maybe next time when you get into that opportunity of, yeah, when I get out of work, I just sit on the couch and I scroll on my phone for a while because I need to unplug.
Right.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you. You need to unwind from work. But is there a better way of going about that than just sitting on the couch and scrolling?
Right.
Maybe if you have I'm looking at my stationary bike right now. Maybe if you have a stationary bike, scroll while you're on the bike. You
Whoo,
know what I
there we
mean?
go.
So you're not
Yeah.
eliminating what it is that you needed to do to unplug your mind and get out of work mode, but you're now attaching a physical activity along with it, right?
Pairing it with the product prod productive activity. Yes,
Right.
I love that. Mm. Self-assessment. And I just it just dawned on me after just having this conversation, talking about this. Uh I think about Ed Milet, and he says that he breaks his day down into three separate, he says he has 3 days in one, right? He breaks it down into three sections. He has his morning section, like it's 5 to 11. He has his mid-afternoon section, 11 to 4, whatever. And I'm kind of making up sometimes. And then he has his night session. And there was another successful individual that I was listening to. He's like, you can't measure what you don't record, right? And so that's something that I'm going to do next week, or starting today, right?
I
You
was just going
apply
to ask you
knowledge,
why next week.
apply it now, right? not waiting until the nighttime to reflect on what happened. And I've been dabbling with it. I've been dabbling with it these past couple of days, but I haven't been intentional about it. Is like writing down my blessings as they've happened. For instance, yesterday morning I was in the sauna and, I met the gentleman's name is Robert. Wrote that down. Blessing. Oh, I met Robert in the sauna and we had a great conversation, right? And that right there helps you, track and record what's actually, track your blessings, track your wins, track what's going on in your life, and doing that within those that morning sessions, after your morning session, 12 o'clock hits, if you're able, right? Maybe taking 5 minutes to reflect on what happened and what you did that morning, because that at that point you're able to track it, you're able to measure it, right? Well, I said before, the past is for correction, and you can't correct anything that you don't reflect on. So we have to be able to reflect a little bit more on what's going on in our lives so we can actively change and manipulate and make those substitutes as you mentioned, so we can make those changes. So like you said, after work, after scrolling, like what was it, what difference can I have made other than scrolling? They say to remove something and replace it with something. Otherwise, you fall back into your default way of thinking. So that's a great idea that I'm going to capitalize on and focus on starting after we get off here. I'm going to reflect on in my journal. I'm going to reflect on this conversation, and have more reflection because ultimately that's where growth is made in
Mm.
reflection, right? So that's just amazing.
I like that, reflecting on the positive things that happen, because then the more you do that, the more
You're
you're going
training
to
your
start
brain.
noticing those positive
Exactly.
things as they happen, and you'll be excited to go write it down, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, practicing positivity. Again, it's not, I don't mean to talk about how we were talking about earlier, be more positive and stuff like that. I don't mean to talk about it like as if it's just an easy thing. You just, all right, I'm positive now, So for some people, it may be. Because again, if you make that decision, sometimes that is all that it took to get that to click into your brain. But if not, practice it. Practice makes progress, right? I don't like the
Yes.
practice makes perfect. Practice makes progress. So practice positivity. Practice writing things down that made you happy. Practice um, acting or responding in positive ways. Practice it however you can, whatever that looks like for you. Yeah, write it down. This was a good conversation that made me think about certain things in a new light and gave me some perspective. I'm going to write about it. I'm going to practice
I'm
that
gonna
that
look at
positive memory that I can now look back on.
yeah.
And again, the more you do that, the more that you're gonna be able to do it in the future. Again, it's like a muscle, like we talked about. The more you do it, the stronger
But
it
that's
gets.
but that's just the thing, right? What like I got the meaning of practice here. Practice doesn't mean you do it one time, right? Like you said,
Right.
it's not gonna be like that. The definition of practice is the repeated action to improve skill, the consistent application of beliefs or a profession or whatever actions.
Yep.
It's something that you have to do over and over and over again until it becomes
Yep.
subconscious. So when you
Right.
say practice, okay, what does practice actually mean? It doesn't mean you do it once. You have to do it over and over and over again until it becomes a part of your bag.
Yep. So
That's it.
that's huge, man. Practicing, and again, that bringing it back to what we were talking about, the waste of knowledge and the waste of wisdom that we could have when we don't apply an action to learning something or consuming something. You get into that empty loop of just in and out of watching things or consuming content or whatever the case is. And yeah, oh man, what was I going to ask you? Yeah, do you think that people know that they're in that loop when it, as a majority, do you think people are aware that that's happening, or do you think they're genuinely convinced that when they're listening to a podcast or they're reading a book that that process of learning is actually working for them.
think it's both. It starts with awareness, right?
Yeah.
I they call it Groundhog Day for a reason.
Mm,
It's a loop, and some people may be aware of it and don't feel like they have a way out of it. But if you're not aware of something, then you can't change it, right? So I feel like there's a couple of factors. I think it's both. I believe that a lot of people are stuck in a loop that they don't understand that they're stuck in
yeah.
because I believe that it takes accountability to even notice because without accountability, you talk about self-assessment. You can't self-assess without accountability. It doesn't work, right? You can't be like, okay, well, what did I do wrong? That would be taking accountability, right? If you're like, well, I didn't do anything wrong. It was my boss, or it was my job that is why I'm scrolling X amount of times. Oh, it's because of this, it's because of that. Then you're going to be stuck in that loop, and you're going to be stuck in it forever until
Mm,
you decide that there wants to be a change, right? That's when insanity comes from. And cliche, but there's
right.
a lot of people stuck in a lot of people stuck
That
because
just
even I
aren't
was,
even aware.
yeah, yeah, because I was stuck in that same loop, right? I was stuck in that same loop, and we're just now, bringing it to a head, right? We're just now bringing it to a surface as far as we talked about this a couple of days ago, as far as being more intentional about taking action on the knowledge that we've learned. But it's
Hmm.
the limited beliefs and the obstacles that are in front of us that prevent us from taking action. So we get these ideas, and it's like, oh, well, that's a good idea, but I have this in front of me. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but I'm afraid of rejection. Oh, I'm afraid of what people are going to start or what people are going to say, right? And
Right.
it's those things that hold us back from taking action, which is why that that knowledge drops off and it falls through the cracks. It's the limited beliefs and the obstacles in front of us that prevent us from going and taking action because it's like, oh, well, I've got
The,
this
the
going on.
self-placed obstacles, right? A lot of times
Yes,
it's what
yes.
we put in front of us that
Hmm.
prevent us from actually taking that action.
Hmm.
It's not like there's this mastermind watching over us, and as soon as they see
Right,
that we're ready to do something, they're like, oh, let me put this hurdle in front of them and see what they do with that.
right.
No, it's usually our own thoughts, our own minds that we play that what if in a negative way. And what if this goes wrong, what if that goes wrong? We put those obstacles in front of us, and then that in turn prevents us from actually taking that action. We're our own worst enemy.
Oh,
We're the
absolutely.
ones that are actually doing things that are preventing us from actually doing something, but we can't admit that. We
Hmm.
have to place that blame on an external um,
Variable. Hmm.
variable, right? So yeah, it's my boss, or it was the traffic, or it was, again, I talked about this recently. Even when we were in school, what was the answer that you would give for failing a class? Oh, my teacher doesn't like me.
Mm,
Right? We
yeah.
always had to put that blame on somebody else instead of saying, no, I didn't study for this. I wasn't
Right.
paying attention in
I
class. I
don't
was
like the subject.
distracted.
Right.
I
You
don't like
like,
to, yeah, this doesn't resonate with me, so I don't put in that same level of effort. Obviously, that's a lot to, if a kid said that to me, I'd be like, damn, that was the most mature response that you could have given. But again, it's that lack of being able to hold ourselves accountable. And it's not that we're not ready. We think that we're not ready
yeah,
because we're not taking action. And a lot of times it's just that we just got to do something, and then we figure it out as we go, right? And all of a sudden you'll start to see the ways around those obstacles. Yeah, there may be something there, but I'm sidestepping now and I'm able to move past it. But you're never going to do it by standing still and just looking at all of the obstacles in front of you. You have to start moving.
man. And I am the first one to tell you that I suffered from all of it. I talk about the imposter syndrome, and I'll be the first one to tell you, trying to be a perfectionist is it's not going to work
Mm.
because it's like it's like having a roadmap. We talk about Mario, right? It's like having a the blueprint of Mario of like what's in the level. And so we're trying to map out the level before even going through the level. but there's always a learning curve when you once you've embarked on that journey. And it's not until you've embarked on the journey to where you have to learn what went wrong. You can't prepare for the errors before the
Right.
errors actually happen. And so that's
Mm.
why it's important to start to figure out what those errors are and then make the adjustments on the way. And I'm still working on it. Don't get me wrong. I'm zero perfect from doing that, right?
Yeah, I still
But
have my
it's
time. Yeah, my moments of yeah, falling into that, oh, I don't know,
right,
what if?
exactly. Right. And so we just talked about as far as, taking that knowledge and applying action to that knowledge, because that's where people, that's what they said, that the hyper successful people, they fail quickly and learn quicker, than everyone
Mm,
else, which is why they get to why they get to the top faster than everyone else. Because I said it. I mean, action practicing taking action, because action breeds momentum.
mm,
Action opens up opportunity, but it's the lack of action that we're so used to that we fall back and we forget that action is what actually reveals that next step. I have it in my notes, and I've had it in my notes for the longest time, but I haven't practiced action.
right,
I
right.
haven't practiced taking action. So action is the key. Action, action, action. And
I
it's
think the
satisfaction.
right, the satisfaction that you get when you take action, right? I
Mm.
think the big problem I know with myself, one of my biggest issues is the action that I'm looking to take is too big for where I'm at.
Oh yes. Oh, that's it right there. The B through
Right?
Y, right?
So that's what I was going to say, bringing it back to the concept of B through Y, being at A, looking at Z and getting overwhelmed or just lost with everything in between. Break it down into something smaller. You don't have to take that giant leap. You can take a tiptoe of a step. That's still momentum. That's still taking action. That's still moving forward. Crawling, as they say, you got to crawl before you can walk, before you can run, right? So take that crawling step. That's okay. That's still movement. That's still going to bring
That's,
on that
yeah.
momentum, like you said.
It's established. Remember, we've talked about this. It's establishing the connection between the mind and the body. It is
Right.
just that movement. That movement. It's just like take a step. You're telling the brain to take a step, and it's whatever you're doing that creates that creates a relationship between the body and what is the neurons, like that creates like the firing of neurons. I'm trying to get all scientific and stuff like that, but it's like
Yeah, it
that's
makes
what
that
if I
neurological connection.
yes, it's the neurological connection, and that's the connection. Just with taking that little bit of action, it's like if you're a writer, it's just like doing a sentence, because that action breeds the next step. It reveals the next sentence, and
Right.
that's what we have to be mindful of, as far as, okay, what does that look like? Because we're trying to map out Z, we're trying to map out all the letters before we even know what it looks like, and that's why we stay stuck. And I promise you, this
Right.
is why I've stayed stuck for years. Like I've been on this personal development thing for years now, but it's the action that I've lacked in taking, and an inaction is an action. So
Right. Right. Yeah, doing nothing is your that's a choice.
yeah.
Same thing. Choosing to do nothing is still making a choice. And again, as we know, you're always gonna that's that what if versus the now I know.
Yeah.
And I'd rather take action and be wrong in the steps that I take and then learn on the steps that I have to take than to not take them at all
Hmm.
and wonder what if.
Yeah.
So
Fail
and that's
quickly
been a
and learn
big thing
quicker.
with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right. I like that. That's been a big thing with me, and I'm still yet to apply it in all aspects of life. Definitely don't mean to talk about this like I'm just batting 1,000 everywhere I go. No matter what I do, I'm making progress. I need to I need to learn how to apply this to more in what I want to accomplish in life. I've done it with a few things, and I've gotten some positive results. Are they the things that have I achieved all of the things in the stuff that I've got those positive results in, does it look the way that I wanted it to look? It doesn't. It doesn't, man. I even think about my journey in martial arts. I've been taking kickboxing and karate for quite a bit now, like 7 months, 8 months, something like that. And I'm not this crazy, kicking machine that can do all kinds of crazy things, but I'm a lot further than where I was before I started.
Absolutely.
And that's what was holding me back for a long time, and why I didn't get started is because I knew it wasn't going to look the way that I wanted it to look. But I'll never get there by not doing it.
Mm,
So I'm doing
absolutely.
things that I never thought I'd be able to do. I
Practicing.
never thought about even doing, because I had a different image in my head.
Hmm.
But in order to get even just a little bit closer to that image, I have to go through the things that I'm going through now.
Yeah.
And again, so being at A, looking at Z, and there's going to be a lot of steps in between that you don't want to do, but that's what's going to get you to where you need to go, where you want to go. And a lot of times it'll get you even further than where you thought you would be. You're going to pick up a lot of things along the way that you never even knew, that you didn't even think about adding to your tool belt, right? So you just got to do it, man. You just got to take that action. You just got to take those steps, and you'll figure it out along the way.
Bro, we have to take some action, right? Because a lot of us feel like we don't know what to do, so we don't do anything. But it's doing something which creates that process of elimination. We talk about
Right.
this podcast that we're doing and how we're going to expand it. Let's try something. We got to do something,
Even just talk about it with somebody.
right?
Even because
Thought
you
provoke.
don't know, right? You don't know who knows something or knows
Mm,
someone, right? So if you even
that's
just bring it
good.
up in conversation with somebody, they're like, "Oh man, my uncle actually does that. He can help you with that."
Conversation.
Uh, I don't know where that came from,
You're
but
talking about,
but again, you don't know what somebody else can give you insight on,
yeah,
or oh, I used to do that, I can help you with that, or whatever the case is, having that outside perspective, because again, when we're inside of it, we get those horse blinders on, right? I'm almost afraid to put my hands up now because I don't know what's going to
yeah,
pop up on the screen, but we get scared, and then we're not looking around and being able to see everything. So even just having that conversation with somebody, talking about your thoughts, your
love
goals, your
that.
dreams, your aspirations, you don't know what that will lead to.
Yeah,
Usually,
conversations.
yeah, man. Again, that could get thought provoked for somebody else too, and they can look into it. Hey, I liked what you were talking about last night. I did a little bit of research on it. This is what I came up with. Oh, damn! I didn't come across that. Thank you. Like, you don't know. So having the conversations about what it is that you want to do can do so much for you. That can spark something in you. That could that in and of itself is a form of taking action.
Mm,
So just talk about it at the very least.
have high expectations and take action. Fail quickly, learn quicker, because it's all a part of the game. We have to make mistakes. Some mistakes are more consequential than others, and they may sting a little bit. But being able to respond quickly, take what you learn, take the value out of it, apply it to the next time, take action to apply it, right? Quicker, so you can learn that much quicker. Oh my goodness, uh, this is exactly what I needed. This is exactly what I. Nobody else got anything from
Thought
it,
provoked.
though we always do. We always do. So,
Every time, man. Every time. So again, to wrap this up, my voice is going out. Um, yeah, man. The higher expectations of our day-to-day lives, and what will help with that, I think, is like we were just saying, taking action, and and yeah, just talking about this, opening up with people, be vulnerable,
yeah,
you know,
connect,
connect,
have
build,
conversations,
grow.
ask questions.
Yeah, network. You
seeking
know?
you'll find,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, put it out there. Put out into the universe what you want to receive. You'll be surprised with what you get back. So
Mm.
I love these conversations. I love releasing and being thought provoked with you, man. So I appreciate you.
Likewise, brother. Likewise. Always.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.